I'm often asked, Doug, what should I practice? Let me make this clear. What you practice isn't nearly as important as establishing an effective daily practice routine. So, what are we trying to accomplish with this routine? Remember when you first learned to play open chords, very first chords you learned. I'll use the open D chord as an example. Initially, you had to think where each finger was placed, what strings were being played, where on the fretboard this was happening, and that took time. And then there was the next chord. Now when you fret a D chord, it happens automatically. You simply play a D chord without thinking about the process. All of your guitar playing should be that automatic, and that's the purpose of practice. The conscious mind is far too slow to play music. Unless you learn to disengage from conscious thought, you'll never sound musical. Music is played by our incredibly fast subconscious. Practicing guitar is simply a method for the conscious mind to teach the subconscious through repetition. Initially, you must consciously think about exactly what you're playing and the correct technique to properly play the part, just like when you first learned the open chords, the D chord, for example. At first, play repetitions incredibly slowly, not that you have a choice, but keep playing slowly until the part can be played without thought. If you're using tab, glance at it less often with each repetition. Playing without thought also means you won't be evaluating the part as it's being played. That's the conscious mind. Once you're able to play without thought, gradually increase speed. The message here is stop thinking your way through guitar parts. That will just interfere with the natural flow that you're capable of tapping into. Am I telling you to memorize everything? No. But learn how to play one or two measures without thought. Then if you decide to connect them together into longer passages, then you can commit it to memory, but by that time, you've got it down and it won't be difficult at all. Another thing to consider, when you're nervous or feel pressured, like someone walks into the room while you're playing your guitar, your muscles will tighten and your conscious mind will take over. And that's what causes performance anxiety. So, while you're playing, pay attention to this. Relax tense muscles, take deep breaths, and by all means, stay calm. The subconscious does benefit from practice while the conscious mind is engaged thinking about something else. In the 90s, I was an avid Howard Stern fan. I practiced while paying attention to the broadcast instead of my guitar playing. This type of practice teaches the subconscious to take control and allows you to play without actually thinking your way through the parts. But this is for practice, not for performing, because automatic guitar isn't completely thoughtless. You must still be engaged, present, not daydreaming, thinking about dinner tonight. This feeling is similar to enjoying your favorite music without sitting there and analyzing it. There are songs that I've forgotten how to play, that I learned years ago and forgot how to play them years ago. When I begin to relearn them and remember a few parts, then the next step is to simply play without conscious thought, and before long these sections that I have forgotten return because I tap into the part of my mind that actually performed the songs in the first place. When you watch mental method instructors play incredibly fast, realize that takes weeks or even years to master. So commit to learning the technique without conscious thought and allow the process to gradually take you to your maximum performance. So now it's time to put together a practice plan. Make a copy of the following and fill out the details that will lead to you accomplishing whatever your goal is. Number 1, decide what you want to accomplish and why. Number 2, choose a practice schedule and routine. 3, does it seem feasible that the goal can be attained with this level of commitment? Number 4, what type of instructions will you reference to attain success? In other words, are you following a proven method for improvement or just winging it? Number 5, what does success look like? Visualize yourself at the end of the commitment having already accomplished the goal. And number 6 is fun. It may help you to select a reward for accomplishing the goal. You know, that guitar you've been thinking about buying but didn't think you could justify the expense? Well, after meeting your goal, not only can you justify the expense, you're so incredible, you also will truly deserve the reward. And this guideline isn't just for guitar. These steps can be followed to accomplish any goal that requires practice. The easy way to stick with daily practice is to pick a single time each day for the routine. Now, that's the easiest way to stick with a routine, but from my experience, not the most effective. I prefer to set a timer each day for 60 minutes, then start and stop it throughout the day. I'll typically play 20 minutes, then 20 minutes later, and end the day with 20 minutes. I stop when I get bored, lose focus, or have something else to do. Now, by the end of the day, I always complete the 60 minutes. Well, maybe not always, but if not always, other days I practice more. If you have the self-discipline for this type of incremental practice, it's more effective than doing the entire session at once. And the reason for this is it's less boring, more focused, and as each increment is completed, your subconscious will continue working on the part as you continue through the day. One note, the most important time to practice is a few minutes right before going to sleep, and that will put the subconscious into hyperdrive. Tomorrow when you awake, the part will be easier to play, way easier. Boredom is what ends practice routines. You never need to be bored. When you begin to feel that way, either step away or, even better, find something new and challenging. But the secret is not too challenging, because when it's too challenging, that causes frustration, and that can end your mission just like boredom. So now here's a general guide for what to practice. Beginners need to understand basic chords, scales, techniques, and simple songs. This is all common sense, really. Intermediate players should review what they learned as a beginner, build a song list, and develop songwriting and recording skills. Advanced players, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Just simply practice your weaknesses. In fact, all levels should list 3 of your weakest techniques and spend the most time practicing what you're not good at. Start with number 1, move on to number 2, then number 3. Once you've got that eliminated, you will be an awesome player. So just remove the things that you don't do well. My rock guitar course is my personal list of complete instructions for exactly what to practice, step by step, depending on your level of experience. It starts at the beginning, but you don't have to start there. But that's not a bad idea, because the basics are so important to review. So find a place in the course that is challenging and move forward from there. You will always have something enjoyable to play, but not so challenging that it's frustrating. You will become a better player by following these instructions that have evolved over my 40 years of guitar teaching experience. And you can find all about my course at rockguitar.com. If after you've listened to my instructions for the proper way to practice, you decide that you've been doing it all wrong, and that happens, you're in for a treat. Because without following this process, people tend to flounder away their practice time, often for years without moving forward. But now, my friend, I think you've got this. In the comments section below, tell me what you learned. Come back and comment again after you've followed my instructions. Let me know if this helped. Also, share your own experience, other thoughts, and yes, criticism. But please be kind. I mean well, seriously. When my new videos are posted, that's when I'm available to answer questions and comments. You won't know that my new videos have been posted unless you, yes, subscribe and click the bell to select all notifications. That will ensure that your comments are responded to. See you on my next video, and as always, it's going to be a good one. See you then.